Left to freeze at the depot on Christmas night until the millionaire rancher whispered, "Come home." Snow came down in sheets the night Claire Wilson realized she had nowhere left to go. The bus depot, an aging brick building with windows that rattled whenever the wind pushed too hard, was the only place still open on Christmas night. Its heater sputtered like a tired old man, coughing out more noise than warmth. Claire sat curled on a metal bench, arms wrapped tight around her duffel bag, watching her breath fog the cold air in front of her. She kept telling herself she'd be fine. That she'd get warm eventually. That the storm would calm. That someone might even call her back, her sister, her former boss, anyone who remembered she existed. But the truth hung in her chest like an icicle. Tonight, she was utterly alone. Her phone battery had died hours ago. Her last $40 had paid for a bus ticket that broke down 3 towns back. The depot clerk had locked up early, mumbling something about family dinner. And everyone who'd passed through since then had hurried on, coats pulled tight, too wrapped in their own holiday troubles to notice the shivering girl on the bench. Claire hated how familiar this felt, the sensation of being an afterthought. She shut her eyes and counted her heartbeats, hoping it would slow the trembling. It didn't. Miles away, on a sprawling snow-covered ranch, Luke Carson stared at the empty table set for 10. Most people knew him as the millionaire rancher, the man whose cattle operation had grown from his father's modest dream to one of the biggest in the state. But tonight he was just a man who had lost more than money could ever buy. His wife was gone. His family scattered. And Christmas, once his favorite day, had become a reminder of how hollow success felt when there was no one to share it with. He almost didn't drive into town that night. But something about the storm felt wrong, dangerous. And ever since his wife's passing, he'd taken to checking in on the places she used to volunteer at, shelters, bus stations, anywhere someone might be stranded. Just in case, he always told himself. Claire wasn't sure how long she'd been half asleep, half conscious, when she heard the rumble of a truck outside. A door slammed. Heavy boots approached. Then the depot door creaked open, letting in a blast of frigid wind and a man shaped like a mountain. He paused when he saw her. She tried to sit straighter, brushing snow from her coat, trying to look less like someone who had nowhere to go. "Evenin'," he said gently, pushing back his hat. "Didn't mean to startle you." "It's fine." Her voice cracked. "Just waiting for the next bus." He glanced at the empty schedule board. The blank digital display. The dark ticket window. "There won't be another one tonight," he said. "Storm shut down the whole line." She swallowed hard. "Oh." Luke noticed everything, the thinness of her coat, the bluish tint to her fingers, the way she rocked ever so slightly, as if warming herself by imagination alone. He shifted closer, keeping his voice soft. "Ma'am, you got somewhere safe to stay?" Claire stiffened. "I'm okay." "Really?" But a tear betrayed her, glittering beneath her lashes before she could hide it. Luke didn't push her or pity her. He simply sat beside her on the freezing bench, offering quiet company instead of questions. For a long moment, they just listened to the wind howl. "My wife used to do this," he said finally. "Check on folks. Make sure no one spent Christmas alone." His smile was small, full of memories. "Lost her 2 years ago. But I like to think she's still telling me where I should be." Claire stared at him. Kindness from strangers always startled her more than cruelty. She didn't know what to say. Then her stomach growled loudly enough that both of them heard it. Luke stood slowly. "I've got hot supper in my truck, thermos of stew, fresh rolls. Ranch isn't too far. Warm fire, too." He hesitated, not wanting to scare her. "I could drive you to a motel instead, if that feels safer. Or stay with you here till morning. Whatever you're comfortable with." She should have refused. Every instinct told her not to trust anyone, especially a man built like a legend out of Western folklore. But his eyes held no hunger, no judgment, no agenda. Just humanity. "Why are you being so nice to me?" she whispered. He took a breath, snow swirling behind him. "Because nobody deserves to freeze alone on Christmas." The words pierced her like sunlight breaking through a storm. Without realizing it, Claire began to cry, quiet at first, then shaking sobs she couldn't stop. All the exhaustion, the rejection, the fear of the last few months poured out. Luke knelt beside her, not touching her, just grounding her with steady presence. When she could finally breathe again, he extended a hand, not demanding, simply offering. She wasn't sure why she trusted him. Maybe because every other door had closed. Maybe because kindness, when genuine, is louder than fear. Or maybe because she sensed he needed someone, too. Claire placed her trembling fingers in his. Luke helped her up gently, and as they stepped out into the freezing night, he leaned close, voice barely above the wind. "Come home." It wasn't a command. It wasn't even a promise. It was an invitation to warmth, physical, emotional, human. And Claire, for the first time in months, felt something inside her flicker back to life. Hope. Luke drove slowly through the storm, heater blasting, stew warming her hands, radio humming soft Christmas songs. By the time they reached the ranch, Claire had stopped shaking. And when he opened the front door, revealing a glowing fireplace, a decorated tree, and enough food to feed a dozen people, she nearly wept again at the sight. "Make yourself at home," he said, hanging his hat. Home. The word didn't hurt this time. They ate. They talked. They laughed softly at the absurdity of life. And for two people who had both been wandering through different kinds of loneliness, Christmas became something else entirely. Not a reminder of what they'd lost, but proof of what could still be found. Sometimes kindness doesn't arrive wrapped in ribbon or glittering under lights. Sometimes it comes as a warm hand in a freezing depot, a whisper offered to a desperate heart, a simple act that reminds us. No one is ever truly alone unless the world forgets to care. And on that Christmas night, care found them both.